Welcome to Eugene Cannabis TV. You made the trip, and we've got some great guests and special guests in our studio tonight. We have San Francisco Jack beside me, and they got a real Texas stranger here. We got Smokey. You bet.
That's right. My name's Smokey.
We got Smokey here, and Smokey's going to talk to us about what's going on, and also we've got a special guest hanging out on the outskirts of the show too. So
that's
tell
right.
us what's going on there, Smokey.
Okay, well,
why are you wearing the mask?
Well, the reason I'm wearing the mask is the fact that where I come from, we have no problem smoking those things that we like to smoke. And that's and here you seem to be having still some problems with getting this stuff legal. Is that what I hear from my brother?
Yes, you do, and I think that's going to change real soon, and we hope it'll be a wonderful change. But you are from Texas?
I'm from Texas, and I come up here to see my brother Doc, and also watch this here festival coming up. It's called the Emerald Empire Hempfest. And I hear that's coming up, what, late July?
July 18th to the 20th, yes. Yeah. Coming right up, 25 days from today.
That's terrific,
yeah. Yes, it's coming right up.
So your brother is here.
Yeah.
How do you like Oregon so far?
Oh, well, it's so green. It's not like where we are at all. We got mostly sand-colored stuff, you know. But we do have some greenery up there in the mountains. Up there in the cannabis mountains, you know, we have a whole mountain full of trees, but they're cannabis.
I see. Now, is it legal there? I mean, are you connected or what?
Well, a little bit connected, I suppose, because you see, my grandfather, uncle, or Leroy, that's my grandfather, he's our judge, and we got Titus, who's my uncle, and he's our sheriff. So the family does real well, just like they've been doing for generations.
Wonderful.
But here, everybody seems to be all upset about the whole thing, and so we're going to have a party. It's called that hemp thing, that hemp fest, that Emerald Empire Hempfest.
He's the founder of it here.
That's what I hear, and I'm
DanK.
certainly happy to meet you, sir.
You betcha, the Emerald Empire Hempfest. And thanks to our friend Doc, who we're going to meet here in a little bit.
He's out there.
We come up with a great theme for the Hemp Fest. Free the Cannabis Nation, and that's what we need is more freedom.
That's what we need, and I'm going to get my brother up here. Doc, you about ready to come up here?
Yes, we definitely need
fine.
to
Great.
Doc
Nice.
on camera here.
Nice
And,
to meet you, Smokey. Smokey, you want to take off? Smokey, you want to take off all your stuff there?
Yeah. So anyway, he'll be here in a minute. So yeah, the Hemp Fest is coming up. It's really exciting. We've had 2 ads in Eugene Week already, thanks to our friends at the Greener Side. They've picked up the tab for 4 ads. We've had 2 already. It was in the summer issue and in the Chow issue. So now the next 2 weeks prior to the event, we'll have a quarter-page ad in the Eugene Weekly, and so that's going to give us a real boost. And things are really coming together. We're really working on our ganja crew, our ganja girl crew. That's going to be something to enjoy and a lot of fun. So, Doc,
yes.
I heard you were in there. Yeah, well, great.
Yeah,
thanks for coming by.
Nice to see
All
you.
right.
Yeah.
So tell us about what in the heck you're up to now.
Okay, well, what's going on right now with me and a number of our friends is we decided that we'd like to get something together before the Hemp Fest and come into an area where we're going to have a forum and we're going to have a number of little booths and that sort of thing, because we're putting together the Oregon Professional Growers Association. And the reason for that is that we need to have a voice in this community. It's not just about hemp or not just about cannabis. It's also about all growers, all the people who do growing, whether it's horses or whether it's feed or whether it's alfalfa or whether it's fish. We're going to put together a large organization to get the vote for this particular issue on the ballot and voted for and signed and legalized. That's what we're here for.
Wow, that sounds like a good deal to me.
The OFL stands for?
The Oregon Festival League is the mother of the company. It is a 501c6 organization, and it means that it's business to business people who are getting all sorts of services and including the project that we're doing, the Oregon Professional Growers Exchange.
Excellent. And the Emerald Empire Hempfest is going to provide a booth space for DOC and the OFA, and it's going to take off, and it's going to be interesting. DOC has a lot of energy and a lot of great ideas, and so he's already affected the Hempfest, and we've only known him for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, got to get started somewhere.
You smell a lot better than your brother, who smelled like a barnyard.
Well, yeah, he kind of smokes a lot of shit. So, what can I say? We prefer the kind of strains we have here more than his Texas Twister.
Right. So tell us about the growers. Now you've gotten, you had one meeting so far with quite a few growers, and now there's another one coming up with like what? Sound like twice as many this.
Oh yes, more than twice, I think. What we have is we're going to go over at the Cosmic Pizza at 2 o'clock on Friday, and so anybody who's interested in this particular thing, we certainly want your folks to come there, and please let all the folks who are part of your committee have them be over there. We've got more things to talk about, that's for sure. Definitely.
That's a great place to meet. Plenty of room, plenty of space, and you can even get a decent pizza if you're hungry. So, but that's really exciting. And I know that first meeting that I was at, it was really fun. When I first became an activist and got into this whole thing, it was really neat to finally meet growers, and I kept thinking, I want to meet more growers, So next thing I know, I hear from Doc, and I'm in a meeting with growers, and I thought, wow, this is great.
Yeah.
This is
Well, we've also talked with some of the dispensaries, and we've certainly talked about some folks who have hemp things. There's a lot of things that we can still bring into this particular event that we need to bring ourselves together.
Exactly. And tell us a little bit about your background and how did you end up to where you're at now and what you're doing now?
Well, I've lived in Oregon quite a number of years, but before I retired, I did a lot of festivals in California, and I did a mountain bike festival in Arizona, and I worked for the USO for some years, and I even did some work for the United Way. So I've had a little experience in the event business, and hopefully slowly we can move things a little farther forward, bring a little more people into this particular thing. I'm really excited about what's going on. An old fella like me, getting back into the saddle, it's kind of fun.
I'll bet. I can only imagine. And so you live in Florence then?
I live in Florence, and so does Jack, and he's got quite a background too. Jack, why don't you tell us a little
Jack,
bit?
What's your story?
I'm a supporter of the hemp and marijuana, and I'm glad to hear the initiatives are moving ahead, and that hopefully we will become a state where it is accepted and is gladly rejoiced in and partaken in. And I'm looking forward to that day. We'll be the 4th, I think, of the 4th. Alaska's up next, is it not, DanK?
Yes, Alaska's coming up in November. It was going to be in August, but for some reason they moved the election date. But anyway, so now it's in November, and yes, it'll be on the ballot. And then, of course, Measure 53, in fact, I should mention that. Measure 21 and 22, the initiatives that were put on by Paul Stanford, they've ceased operations. They were too far down in the count and not enough time to make up to what they needed to make, so they decided to pull the plug on it. So. But we do have the one initiative, Measure 53, which is known as the I forgot it. I'll think of it. New Approach Oregon. That's it. So anyway, that's Measure 53. They got last I heard, 116,000, and I heard 120. So anyway, they're up there in the big numbers, and they need 87,000 and change. So by getting enough extra, they got to make sure that they've got enough to make up for any bad signatures they have. So at 120,000, they're getting pretty close to where they need to be. And so anyway, the point is, it looks like it's going to be on the ballot. It's pretty sure it's going to be on the ballot, and we're pretty sure it's going to pass, because the polls are running 51 to 58%. Registered voters would vote to legalize marijuana for adults over 21 years old. And those are real polls, not some fake website poll. These are real bona fide polls. And so 2 years ago, we had a legalization initiative. We got it on the ballot, but had no money for a campaign. We had no national support. They went all to Washington and Colorado. So without any help, without any money, we lost with 47%. But that's amazing. That's the highest number we've ever had in the state of Oregon on a cannabis initiative. So even though we lost, we were way up there. So now we're 2 years later. The popularity of cannabis has continued to climb in those 2 years. And now we've got federal funding that's coming into Oregon, and that's why Measure 53 has had the money to pay for the signatures. On one hand, it's kind of pathetic, you know, when we can't even get marijuana legalized in the state of in our own state. Right. You know, I mean, that's pretty sad when we can't even got the wherewithal to do that. But thank heaven there's somebody out there that is doing it, and so we're getting the national money, and it's happening.
When you say the national money, where is that coming from?
George Soros is one. Peter, I can't remember the guy that used to own the Progressive Insurance Company. I've forgotten his name. But he passed away recently, but his family is honoring his commitments that he had made, and so that money's still coming in. And I've forgotten the figures, but they've gotten, I think it's close to $1 million all total from all the different sources. And so the thing that I'm looking at is, and nobody's talking about this, but what I'm looking at is what's going to happen in the Oregon legislature next year when it does pass. I can tell you what's going to happen. It's going to be battle royal. It's going to be a fist fight in the state capital because the legislature will try to gut it. They will try to cripple it. They will try to do anything they can to mess it up. And they've done that with the medical marijuana initiative ever since it came into effect in 1998. They've been chiseling away on it and trying to make, not helping patients, continually making it worse for patients. So I expect more of the same. And so I'm ready now. I mean, let's go. I'm ready to fight. And we're not going to do like we did last legislature. We had some bad advice, and we had some people that thought that they'd be kind of neat to be profiling around and talking to, because we did real well in the legislature. I mean, the legislative session before last, we did pretty well. So we got a little, I say we, but our hierarchy got a little bit cocky and got a little bit too confident, and we got our butts kicked for this last election. I mean, we got the dispensaries in, but then they came in with the moratoriums, which caused massive problems.
Of course it did, and the thing that we hope that we can do with the Oregon Festival League is have more events, more public access by doing that, raising some money with these particular events,
right. Yep.
Getting the noise out and doing the noise really well.
Educate. Yes, very much so. So that is definitely it, and so be looking for DanK, be looking for all that's happening, and especially at the Emerald Empire Hempfest, and that's July 18th to the 20th at the Maury Jacobs Park. It's free to the public. There's no reason not to come. It's family friendly, no alcohol. It's down on the river. It's beautiful, nice and cool. So we'll see you next segment.
Do you suffer from fear of losing your election? Are you terrified that voters will discover you've done nothing to improve their lives? Maybe it's time you talk to your spin doctor about Incarcerex. In clinical trials, Incarcerex has been shown effective at reducing election-related anxieties by making voters think you're doing something about the drug problem. It's simplistic and fast-acting. If your problems continue or get worse, you can always double or triple your dose of Incarcerex. Whether it's addiction, therapeutic use, or just casual use, there's an Incarcerex plan for every American. Best of all, taxpayers, not you, will foot the bill. So talk to your spin doctor about Incarcerex today. Common side effects include loss of civil liberties, police corruption, racial injustice, increased terrorism, spread of HIV and AIDS, and violent crime. Bloated prisons are also a common side effect. Stop taking Incarcerex if bloating lasts longer than 20 years. If you're trying to balance the budget, keep families together, or protect human rights, Incarcerex may not be right for you. Do not mix Incarcerex with the Constitution or common sense. So start taking Incarcerex and keep pretending you're doing something about the drug problem.
Welcome to the second half of Eugene Cannabis TV. You got DanK here, and we've got Jeremy to my right, and we're here to do some news stories for you and some things we found on the internet to talk about and hopefully educate and maybe even pick you off a little bit at times. So this comes right out of the state of Oregon, the Oregon Public Health Division, the Oregon Health Authority. These are the people that oversee the Oregon Medical Marijuana Program. They produced what they call a CD summary. This is dated June 17th, 2014. It starts out, the oldest known written record on cannabis use comes from the Chinese Emperor Shennong in 2727 B.C. Ancient Greeks and Romans were also familiar with cannabis. In the 1840s, Dr. W.D. O'Shaughnessy, a surgeon working in India, introduced cannabis into Western medicine, promoting its use as an analgesic, sedative, anti-inflammatory, and anticonvulsivant. Fast forward, in 2012, it kind of tickles me, they jumped right up to 2012. Anyway, it says voters in Colorado and Washington approved ballot measures that legalize the recreational use of marijuana. Oregon is one of 22 states and the District of Columbia that allow medical marijuana. And in March 2014, Oregon began licensing establishments for retail sale of medical marijuana. Excuse me. By the way, an update on that, I think it's now 23 states because New York is either about to or will also become a medical marijuana
and supposedly there's 20 dispensaries just in Eugene alone.
Right. The thing about let's see. Anyway, so it's interesting. It says, what is marijuana? The scientific name for marijuana is cannabis, genus sativa, species. Subspecies sativa and indica. The primary psychoactive ingredient in marijuana is, and I won't try to say that word, we call it THC.
Tetrahydrocannabinol.
All right. Marijuana also contains
cannabinol.
Thank you. Although this chemical has been less studied, cannabis strains can be cultivated to contain different amounts of THC and CBD. The THC content, the potency, in sample seeds by the Drug Enforcement Agency increased fourfold between the 80s and 2012. When the flowers and leaves of the plant are dried, they can be smoked, usually in the marijuana cigarettes, pipes, and water pipes. Marijuana can also be ingested, e.g. in brownies, tea, or heated and vaporized so that the oils are volatilized and inhaled. And that's the neat thing about the dispensaries is now that they're doing testing, now you can find out each sample that they have and each item that you want to buy, they can tell you what the THC percentage is, the CBD percentage, and also it's certified that it's free of pesticides and mold. So that's one of the really good things about the medical marijuana dispensaries. The Oregon Medical Marijuana Program is administered by the Public Health Division. Currently, more than 60,500 persons hold an Oregon Medical Marijuana card, renewed annually. Card qualifying medical conditions are set in state statute. Primary conditions for current card holders: severe pain, 59,670. That's amazing. I knew it was 60%, but this is showing even higher than that. Persistent muscle spasms, 15,888. Nausea, 9,101. Cancer, 2,800. And seizures, 1,490. And the other conditions include agitation, glaucoma, HIV, post-traumatic stress disorder. That's the latest one, of course. Health effects. THC is lipid soluble and accumulates in fatty tissues. The tissue elimination half-life is approximately 7 days. THC stimulates the release of dopamine, resulting in increased heart rate and blood pressure, increased appetite, and control of nausea and vomiting. So, most of us know the attributes of cannabis, and But it was really interesting to see that high number in pain. Like I said, I've heard it was 60% in both the state and national numbers. So, see, long-term adverse effects, an estimated 9% of those who, an estimated 9% of those who experiment with marijuana become dependent.
Yeah.
You think so?
I don't know.
You agree with that?
9%?
Yeah, that's what it says. Yeah.
I don't know. It's possible. That's
How do
like
you-
9%.
How do you determine somebody's dependent on it, I wonder? Well, see, I went to a...
It's physically impossible to become as dependent on it as people become on opiates.
Exactly, yes. I've heard you become psychologically addicted, but not physically, is the way I understood it. But I don't know. I hear that...
I mean, yeah, you might feel better when you have it. But you're not going to be like someone who keeps going to the doctor and trying to figure out how to get more pills all the time.
Mm-hmm. Marijuana smoke is associated with abnormalities of cells lining the human respiratory tract, and like tobacco smoke, is associated with increased risk of cancer, including lung, head, neck, bladder, brain, and testis, and lung damage. I think I read plenty of stuff that counters that statement. Do you?
Yeah.
Do you?
I mean, it's been proven to help for asthma, so that kind of defeats the
lung damage. I don't believe I've ever heard of anybody having lung damage from marijuana use. Anyway, in addition, marijuana smoke has cardiac effects similar to those of tobacco smoke. Well, like I said, I've always said, if you're smoking, and you are nothing else. It's carbon monoxide, so there's definitely some bad stuff in that. So vaporizing and eating is the two healthiest ways, I would say.
Probably, but not everybody can do it that way.
Exactly. No, that's true. That's true. Especially
with vaporizing and with eating it, it's a lot harder to dose how much you're getting.
Oh yeah. So they followed up by saying, to quote our NIDA colleagues, we need to improve our understanding of how to harness the potential medical benefits of the marijuana plant without exposing people to its intrinsic risks. So anyway, that's I guess that's the state's opinion, and we don't have to agree with it. But
AP News break: hemp seeds seized at U.S. Canada border.
Again, by the way, again. Go ahead.
Hundreds of pounds of industrial hemp seeds bound from Canada to Colorado have been seized by federal authorities in North Dakota, marking in the latest bump along the road to legalization of marijuana's non-intoxicating cousin. At the center of the dispute is hemp activist Tom McLean, armed with a copy of last year's federal farm bill, which allowed states to permit hemp cultivation for research and development. He set off for McGregor, Manitoba, and bought 350 pounds of seeds used to grow a strain known as X59 or hemp nut. Hemp is legal in Canada, and North Dakota is one of the 15 states with laws that allow limited hemp production. However, under the Farm Bill, importing hemp seeds requires permission of the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration. Now that just doesn't make any sense. It's not marijuana, and they're saying that it's legal for them to experiment with it. McLean's seeds were confiscated Saturday at the border crossing in Hannesboro, North Dakota, after he says he declared the 7 bags in his trunk. McLean, however, has not been charged with the crime. They treated me very professionally, McLean said after he returned to Colorado without the seeds. They were just a little confused as to what to do. According to them, I couldn't bring them in. Sean Nudendir, a spokesman for the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, confirmed the seizure. The shipment is currently undergoing scientific evaluation, as hemp seeds can look much like marijuana seeds, Nudendir said in a statement. The seizure underscored the difficulties facing the fledgling U.S. hemp industry after 5 decades of prohibition. Hemp is prized for oil, seeds, fiber, but its production has been prohibited because the plant can be manipulated to enhance the psychoactive chemical THC, the intoxicant found in marijuana. No, you can't do that with industrial hemp. That's complete garbage. It's not the same plant at all. In another recent case, U.S. Customs officials in Louisville, Kentucky held a shipment of hemp seeds from Italy that was bound for research grows. Kentucky agricultural authorities sued the Justice Department, the Drug Enforcement Agency, U.S. Customs and Border Protection, and Attorney General Eric Holder to force the return of the seeds. The DA eventually relented and issued a permit to allow limited hemp planting for research in the state.
That's right. So here they are missing the hemp seeds again. It was bad enough the first time, and they finally relented and let go, and then now another shipment came in. So here we are, deja vu all over again. So anyway, that's the latest for our government. So you see Measure 53 out there, sign it if it's still out there, and we'll be on the ballot. So we'll talk to you next week. Eugene Cannabis TV, come and see us.